Hey everybody, welcome. Can you hear me? You probably noticed I'm at a different location today. I am at a real estate conference for NAREB at University of Real Estate in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and enjoying this really awesome conference. But I didn't have, my normal office to go to, so I am out here in the lobby where it should be quiet because everybody's enjoying the luncheon. So there is a women's council lunch going on. And it's a scholarship luncheon, raises funds for high school students when doing so really awesome. And that's why I'm wearing my pink today. Our Women's Council of NAREB theme is pink. And I got my little earbud in, so hopefully it helps a little bit. So anyway, just type and let us know where you're from. Want to make sure that everybody can hear me. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. By the way, we do not have a handbook to share today, and we also aren't going to have any polls for you to answer. So I'll be good for everybody who's joining us via phone. Okay. All right, let's hope this uploads. I'm having a little internet trouble here. All righty. Not uploading it here is not too good. Let me see if we can fix that. All right, it shows a 4G signal. There we go. All right, we got our slide presentation up. Okay. You said you cannot hear me. I am here at a NAREB conference. Okay, Shakita, hello, welcome. You said you cannot hear me. Let's see. Let me check the settings here.
Man, that's a hard work, man. So good. I'll be like, yeah, man.
Okay, can you hear me now? Oh, you can hear. Okay, good. Yes, there is a lot of background noise. Okay. Yes. So I am here at a real estate conference and ready to go into another room where there's a door that shuts because there's not many people here, but it is busy. So anyway, go into another room over here. It's a little quieter. Okay. I hope that's a little quieter. Let me know if that's already. Okay, is that a little better? Okay, hang on for 1 second. I gotta go grab my bag real quick. Alrighty. Hope that's a little better. There is somebody else in this room, but hopefully it'll be a little better. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us again for another great session. We're going to have a little bit shorter session today. I'm in a luncheon, and I have to get back to the scholarship luncheon in a bit. I want to miss my time with us talking top agents at your brokerage firm. So let's go ahead and dive in right now. Today is Module 7. Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have you here. Who is ready to hit a grand slam and recruit a lot of agents to your company and grow massively? Well, you're in the right place, because that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about agent production. All right, let's keep going here. Don't play the game, change it. And MBA Broker Consultants, and today is our 7th inning, which is agent production. And I'm just skipping the intro slides because we've all seen them before. All right, so 4 things we're going to go over today. Number 1, ranking by production. Number 2, measuring per person production. Number 3, increasing production rate. And number 4, minimum production standards. Now, there are a lot of ways that we can measure production. The most important thing is to do it on a regular and consistent basis and to review those numbers and understand what they mean. So there are several different ways. I'm going to show you my own unique way that other brokerages may not use, simply because I developed my own system and it's pretty effective. So and I think you all have the worksheet. It's an Excel spreadsheet. But if you don't, let me know. I do not have it available here, but I could put it up as we get going. Okay. And my internet is very slow here, by the way, because we're right here on the ocean and there's barely any internet. So this at times. All right, keep going here. Like right now. All right, number 1 is ranking by production. So let's talk about that. The most important thing is to know agent production, is to know agents rank, and that they should know as well, because how can they do a better job if they don't know where they stand? Just like at a baseball game, we keep score. We know who's at bat. We know how many outs there are, how many balls and strikes, what your score is, what your competitor's score is. It's the same thing in our real estate brokerages. We have, it's great to sales, but if you don't know how you did this year as compared to last year, or this month as compared to last month, then how can you improve, right? And how would you know which need more challenging tasks, or which agents should not continue with you, or the agents that might need more training? All of this is by the numbers. So it takes the feeling, it takes the emotion out, it takes you out of the hot seat as a brokerage owner of being a person who is maybe friends with your agents. Now it's based on the numbers. It's not based on, you're friends with them, so you can't approach them and tell them they need to improve. Sharing the numbers with them know this is where we need. All right, so we have a little poll here, and like I said, we don't have any polls up, but you can go ahead and answer in the chat. What percentage of your agents are carrying the bulk of the load at your brokerage? And by that, I mean, what percentage of your agents are paying the bills, the overhead? And if you like, you can go ahead and answer in the chat here. Is it A, 5%, B, 10%, C, 20%? Yeah, if you only have a few agents at your company, say if you only have 5 agents and one of your agents is carrying the load, then, A and B are not applicable because you don't have enough agents to
have 5 or 10%. So that would be, if one agent is, that would be C, 20%. So anyway, let us know what percentage of agents are carrying the load at your brokerage. And I don't mean you, right? Because we know that you as a brokerage owner, you're doing sales too, but we're excluding your sales. We're looking at the brokerage of business. Okay. I would even take it so far as to say that 5% of your agents might account for 95% of your revenue. And what does that mean? That's the cream of the crop, right? Those are those agents who are top producers. They're really pulling in the numbers. And what does that mean for you as a brokerage owner? It means those are the agents who are essentially supporting your business. And those are the agents who are driving your business forward and adding to the profitability at the bottom line. As a matter of fact, they're probably adding profitability that offsets some of your agents that are taking away from your brokerage. And it might be time to think about cutting some of those loose. We'll talk about those in module number 10, agent termination. Okay, so this is what we looked at before. These are trends in production. So the first thing you'll want to do is graph all of your agent production. And this is for a year. And so we have tier 1. It's those agents who are producing transactions per year. And you can see this sample company. This company has 30 agents. And you can top 7 agents are between 32 and 114 transactions. So we're looking at a full year, 12 months. So it could either be a calendar year, January to December, or it could be just year over year. Like for example, your fiscal year starts July 1st. So you go from July 1st to June 30th. And then you compare each year, July 1st to June 30th. Okay, so what you want to do is graph your agent's production, look for trends and production in your agents. Now, in our world of transparency that we live in, you don't want to keep this a secret. You definitely want to let them know that there are trends and what they are. So in many real estate brokerage offices, you come into the office, you see a big board. It's the production board. What does this do? It motivates those who might not be producing where they could to see what their colleagues are producing and be able to graph their own production because they're being compared to the other agents. And, I know people say, oh, I really don't have any competition. That's really not true. Not only do they have competition from other agents, but they also have competition from their own internal company, which are other agents at your brokerage, right? Okay, so agent composition, let's just review this briefly because we discussed this in module 1. So we have our tier 1 agents. Those are the superstars, also called top producers, mega agents, cappers, and these are the ones who actually financially support the brokerage. So these are what I was talking about, the ones who carry the load. And then we have our tier 2 agents. Those are our seasoned agents. They're medium producers. They might not bring in a lot of sales, but they're steady. Any problems in the brokerage, they just put their head down and work hard. They might not be natural salespeople, but you can count on them because they have good business principles and practices that they will consistently produce over time. And these are people that you could actually drive them up in tier 1. We have tier 3. Those are the newbies. newly producers. They could, because they're referral agents, they could have another full-time job. So these are ones that constantly sifting through, constantly evaluating and coaching and mentoring. You can bring them up to the next level, which is tier 2, and then the next level after that, tier 1. And then we have our tier 4 agents. Those are by referral only. And those agents are what I refer to as non-producers or license hangers. And those are ones that might be pulling your resources from your company, and you need to evaluate whether you want to keep them on at your company for whatever reason. Okay, so that was just a little review. The most important thing is to always know what the score is. We have to know the score because we have to know how we can get better. And just like in a baseball game, you know what your score is at all times, you know what your opponent's score is, and then you have a strategy to get ahead and stay ahead. Same thing in your real estate brokerage. All right, so we have number 2, measuring agent production. So we're going to crunch a little numbers. I think some of you have seen this before, but our goal is to sift through the agents and for the home run hitters. Now, first of all, well, let me put this up. I'm going to put a whiteboard on. Okay, it's completely white because I want to talk about something here. And let's see if I can draw this. Okay, so we have our little circle here, and we'll call this our flywheel for our agents' production, or basically their capacity, capability, and competence to produce. So I'm just going to draw a little thing here, and let's see how I do with my drawing. Oh, not too good. Sort of like a peace sign in the middle. Those are our 3 parts. So we have C1 here, and I'll explain that in a minute. Then we have C2, and then we have C3. Okay, so this is a completely new concept that I haven't explained before. So C1 is what we're calling capacity. I hope everybody can see that. I know it's not real big. Let me enlarge it just a little bit. Okay, there we go. That is capacity. And then we have C2, and that is competence. And then we have C3, and that is capability. Oh, can't spell. All right, there we go, capability. So capacity refers to sort of the whole picture. What is the maximum load that your agents can do? Because they're never going to be able to produce above their capacity. What is their capacity? Your capacity would be how many hours a week they have to devote. So for example, if they're a part-time agent, they have fewer hours than if they're a full-time agent. A full-time agent might put in 40 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours a week, whereas a part-time agent won't be able to do that because they have another full-time job. So they are limited. Their capacity is limited. Also, what are their other responsibilities? You might have a full-time agent, but it might be somebody that's, for example, a woman, and she's a new mom and she has 2 toddlers. So even though she is available to work full-time, she might choose not to because she wants the freedom and flexibility that real estate brings to her life to be able to take care of her children and be there with them during important moments in their life. And so she is making a lifestyle choice to prioritize her responsibilities. So her family is going to come first, as it should, rightly so. And so her capacity will never exceed more than what the time she has available after her family comes first. Get another agent, and he might be single, no wife, no girlfriend, no relationships in sight, and he might be able to work, 100 hours a week. So again, they're limited by their hours and also their other responsibilities in life. And what about putting systems in place? Agents who have systems in place can produce at a higher level because that capacity is increased, right? So the capacity is the big picture. That's C1. All right, let's talk about C2. C2 is competence. So competence refers to the skills, training, experience, knowledge, mentoring, education, all the things that allow the agent to be a diligent real estate and to be good and knowledgeable and advise clients correctly, understand the contracts, have a knowledge of home, the processes and procedures, and the knowledge of homes and houses and all of those types of things. Those play into their competence level. Okay, so an agent, again, cannot work beyond their competence level. So, for example, if you have an agent who's a brand new agent, just got into the business, and they'd like to sell $1 million homes, hey, wouldn't we all? But they don't have the competence to do that. So they're not going to be able to work at that level. And the third item on here is capability. So the capability is what is available to them. So for example, what niche are they working in? What opportunities are available to them? Now, as a brokerage, we have a lot that we can play into the capabilities because we can create those opportunities for our agents. We can motivate them. Some people may be self-motivated. Some may need a little more encouragement. We can provide leads. We can help them develop a niche. And part of that also is their persona and what they're geared towards. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If everybody could please let me know that you hear me, because I am having a little bit of challenges here. So let me know if you can hear me and you understood the C1, C2, and C3. It's going to take a moment here and grab a drink. Yeah, where did I put my phone? Hang on one second, I'm gonna have a message here. I don't see any responses. I hope everybody's still on. Hope my internet didn't cut anybody off. You still? Hello? Okay, good. Great. Awesome. That's what I was waiting for, confirmation, because my internet did go out at one point, but I reconnected, so I hope it didn't cut you off. All right, so let's go on to the next part that I want to talk about. Clear. I'm going to turn off the whiteboard. All right, so which agents are home run hitters? And we said their agents are limited by their capacity, competence, and capability. And if we as brokers can open up those doors for them and allow them to have more capacity, add to their competence level, provide capabilities for them, then we can open those opportunities for them and allow them to be higher producers. All right, so we're going to do a little math here. We know we love our number crunching at MBA Broker Consultant. So we need to know how much agents contribute to our net profit. What is the average agent cost per year? And the calculation will allow you to determine if you can afford to carry non-producers. Those are the tier 4 agents we talked about. How much profitability does the average agent contribute to the company? So you can determine if a minimum number of agents are required. If you have an office, you probably have overhead. So every agent needs to be producing in order to contribute to your overheads covered. What is the difference in contribution between producing and non-producing agents? In other words, if you find out that non-producing agents are not contributing, they're actually costing money, it might be time to make a decision to let them go. And what about the correct customer mix? That's hiring part-time versus full-time agents. Okay. And you can calculate these numbers will actually give you some really good insight. And we'll assess whether the agents and which type of agents are profitable. How much does it cost to recruit a new agent? That is your customer acquisition cost. It's important to know that because as you're gearing up, you say, we'd like to hire 20 agents this year. How much will we have to spend to get to that? How many recruits we need to have? How much marketing will we need to do to get to that? The next question is, how long do agents stay at your brokerage? Aha, the magic question in our business. When I first got my real estate license, went to work for a company, I just thought it was amazing, a little silly, how often agents change from brokerage to brokerage. It seemed like every year it's switching brokerages. And some of them did it for good reason, but it just seems like on the type of philosophy. And the philosophy is, well, I'm doing okay here, but I know I can do better somewhere else. And it's funny, but most agents, instead of working to improve themselves, would rather take the easy route, blame it on their brokerage, and switch brokers. So it's important to know what we call it the turn rate is, and the life cycle. And those are important numbers because if the industry average in your area is 2 years for an agent to stay there, but they stay at your company 3 years, you're doing better than the average. And, so the benchmark would be 2 years. If they stay 1 year at your company, that you have a problem, right? You have a turnover problem because there's a high attrition rate, which is the agents leaving your company. The next question, is there a difference in the type of agents employed, producing versus non-producing, and their costs? So the answer to that tells you about agent-provided leads, marketing ads, and private offices, and how those can cost more than agents who don't need any of those services. And are you recouping enough from those agents? Okay, so we're going to find out more. So let's keep going here. So this is a sample income statement for a brokerage. Hang on just a second. Oh, hi, Laura. You didn't mention that. Hey guys, I just had a visitor. Say hi to my friend Laura. Hold on a minute. I'm gonna,
Hello. She
Wait.
put me on the spot.
I'll let, there's a big picture.
Hey,
This is Laura
Is it online
Washington.
class?
Yes, an online class.
hi everybody.
This is Laura Washington. She's an awesome brokerage owner in Texas and also a member of the NAREB Education Committee and MBA All-Star, MBA All-Star.
You're too kind. But you guys have an awesome instructor, so
Thank you.
I am going to go find guys so we can
Okay.
get set up.
All right, thanks. Okay. Sorry for the interruption, but wasn't it great to see my good friend Laura? All right, so this is an income statement from My Sample Brokerage Inc. And in our income statement, we can see that we have taken the sales commissions from the agents. Now, again, your production numbers would not be included in here. This is just your agents. And you need to know if the agents are pulling their load, right? If they're actually contributing to the company, taking away from the company, or if it's a neutral effect, they're just basically being self-sufficient and pulling their load. So in this income statement, we can see we've taken all the commissions generated last year or the year before, and we divided it into two categories: producing agents, non-producing agents. And obviously, if they had sales, they were producing. But for the sake of our discussion, non-producing might mean, less than 3 transactions per year, or, 3 or less. So maybe they had 1, 2, 3, or 0 transactions for the year. And then we go through this, crunch the numbers. We go through the fees collected, the total commission generated, and then we subtract the cost of services, which is what we paid the agents. We end up with our gross margin. We subtract our overhead, which is the administrative expenses, get our operating income and net income. And crunching these numbers will allow us. Oh, okay, my thing is, there we go. All right. All right, so now that all those numbers that we input, it pulls it over into this other spreadsheet where we pull in the sales, the gross margin, the income, and then we are going to put a few other key figures in here. How many producing agents at the beginning of the year and the end of the year. So in this one, we started out with 52 agents, ended with 48, so we lost 4 agents during the year. How many non-producing agents at the beginning of the year? We had 15. Non-producing agents at the end of the year, we had 35. So we gained 20 agents that were non-producing or very low producers. So this is probably not good for us, because those agents who are at the top carrying the load, we had a reduction in those, they decreased, whereas the agents that might be sucking up our resources increased. And this allows us to calculate things like the average stats, the average number of producing agents, average number of non-producing agents, total number of average agents on average, what their average commission contribution is. In other words, what are they contributing to your bottom line at the brokerage? The commissions closed by producing agents, non-producing agents, the average income contribution, and then the profitability stats. So all these are the numbers that we're talking about. It's important to keep score and know where we are at all times. That brings us to this last, I think it's our last cost of service mix. And say, for example, we have an office, a really nice office, but of course a nice office comes with what? Big overhead. Comes with high rent. It comes with, we're probably on a triple net, so we have to pay rent, utilities, maintenance, insurance, taxes, right? So all of those things have to be offset with the agent contribution. In other words, what the agents are providing to the company. So the services provided: a private office. What is the cost per agent? A dedicated office, a shared office space, if we're providing leads to our agents, if we're placing marketing ads, if we're designing and printing nice flyers and brochures and other types of collateral. Are we buying marketing supplies for agents, signs, lock boxes? Do they get to use our virtual assistant? Do they come into the office and use the copy machine and the fax machine and the ink and the paper and, the toner and all of that? So there is a cost for that. What is the average cost per agent? The bottom line is to identify your agents who are superstars. In other words, those who are contributing to the bottom line, those who would be that you really want to keep at your brokerage and retain them, as we talked about earlier, and identify those that are contributing to your bottom line. So again, identifying your superstars, but you don't know who they are until you run the numbers. It's not about who you like, who you think is doing well, who's in your ear, who's making a big deal, who you see in the office, who you don't see in the office. It all comes down to the number crunching. Okay, we have a couple little short topics here. The number 3 is increasing production rate. So which is more effective? A, hiring new agents. B, making current agents more productive. Or C is both. I'll let you go ahead and comment in the chat bar which one you think is the most effective. So as you're thinking about that, think about this. When you're hiring new agents, okay, Janice says C, Violet says C. Okay, awesome. I think C is a good answer, but if you're hiring new agents, there's a huge marketing expense. There's a learning curve. Whereas on the other hand, taking current agents and making them more productive, you don't have to go out and market and recruit new agents. They're already there. And your marketing costs and overhead are much lower if you can just take your current agents and become more productive. So let's go to the next slide because that talks about it a little more. So there's pros and cons to each. Again, hiring new agents. What about new agents? We love that they have a fresh viewpoint, especially newbie agents, right? Brand new agents who have never been licensed before. And the bad part about the new agents is then you have to spend time training or retraining them if they came from another brokerage. On the other hand, taking your current agents and making them more productive, the pro is that you already have a captive audience. They're already there. You know them. Why not just work with them to make them better? And the cons is they might already be tainted by somebody with a negative attitude in your office. They might have a bad attitude. And by bad attitude, I don't mean necessarily, a bad person, but they might have an attitude of, well, I've already tried. I'm no good. I can't do it. And why bother, right? So there's pros and cons to each. But as we know from having I'm going to go back here. I'm going to turn this whiteboard on here for a minute. Okay, so there we go. So as we know, you can increase production 2 ways. So if you have, let's say, for example, you have 100 agents, and then you add 20% equals 120 agents. So you're 20% more agents. It doesn't necessarily mean you're 20% more productive. I'm going to make this font just a little bigger. Okay. All right, so let's try another scenario. Let's say over here we have 100 agents and increase production by 20% equals 120% of previous production, right? So we accomplish the same thing. with our existing agents, we didn't have to go out and get new agents, but we did have to spend some time training, mentoring, possibly providing leads, providing resources to our current agents, but we saved the marketing costs of time and effort of going out and recruiting new agents. Now, you both said, I know there's several people on here, but yes, C is both, and I agree. We should be doing both. Get excited about new agents, but don't neglect the agents that you already have, and find simple ways that you can help make them more productive. Okay. And Janice says C, but B is more work. Okay. And I didn't think about the marketing. You're right. Okay, great. All right. I'm going to clear this because I do have something else I want to go over, and that is the right fit. So let's look at a few different things here. And persona, we'll call it persona characteristics and career goals and diverse skill sets. Okay, so each person has their own things that make them unique. Now, in sales, we talk a lot about, well, we should only recruit people with an I personality who are great salespeople. There's something to be said for that. It is true that I people, the influencers and the DISC personality test make great salespeople, but there are many other positions besides just sales, especially when you start to talk about a team, right? So let's look at some of those positions. Sales, of course, we know. Okay, what about manager, assistant, processor, your TC, right? IT person or a tech person. What about somebody to do lead generation full-time for you, or an ISA, inside sales associate? What about a client care coordinator, somebody who takes care of people once they're already in the hopper? A trainer. What about going after corporate accounts and looking for somebody to help develop your partnership? Partnership developer. Okay, back office management. I'll just say MGMT management. What about somebody to do your financials? So bookkeeper, accountant, somebody to do your banking. What about a property manager so you can develop a new line of business? What about somebody who's great at niches? A niche maybe you hadn't thought of before, hadn't developed. What about projects, initiatives? So these are all things to take into consideration besides just sales. And the goal is that you want to match the agents with the right fit of the position they belong in. Otherwise, they'll be banging their head. You'll be frustrated and they'll be frustrated. So if an agent is not cutting it with their production, maybe you need to start from scratch retraining them, or maybe that person just needs a different position at your company. And that would be a time for you to start thinking about where is a good fit based on their personality, their characteristics, their career goals, their skill sets, and where would be a better fit for that person other than in sales. Okay, I hope everybody's getting something good out of this. I'm going to turn off the whiteboard. And now we're going to go into section 4, which is minimum production standards. Oh yes, we have to set those standards. We said that at the very beginning. In a baseball game, how do you know where you're at if there's no score? We got to keep score because it gives us some type of boundaries of knowing where we're at. So it's important to know what are the sales of each agent per month, per year. We talked about when the year starts and ends. What are their metrics and measurements? So how many sales do you want to have at your brokerage company? In many brokerages, they're going to have, and I'll go ahead and turn the whiteboard all the way on there. So we'll say 2 2 sales per month.
Do you know what class is in this room?
2 sales per month. Okay, is a good minimum. And I'm sorry, my handwriting is kind of bad and it's going to start to get loud in here for a new class. So we're going to get going here, but clear. Are there any questions? We got to have those standards. We have to set those expectations. Let our agents know what we want them to live up to. So any questions? Okay, with that, we will conclude. Remember to check out and log into the master class for brokerage owners. And stay tuned. Our next module, the 8th inning, is all about agent retention. How do you've got the right agents. You got them onboarded. Now they're producing. How do you keep them? So that will be the challenge that we're going to tackle next week in our 8th inning agent retention. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here for Recruit and Retain Top Talent. Scout, sign, and play the right agents at your brokerage firm. Oh, Janice has a question. Did you put up the activity workbook? Janice, I apologize. Get the activity workbook put up. I've been at the conference and I wasn't able to get everything done before I came. So I tried to do it here, but I have had virtually no internet in my room, and I was lucky to get this slideshow up. That's why I actually typed in a lot of my notes, because I was having trouble getting everything uploaded. So I will work on that, or you can send me an email. I will probably be able to get to it on Saturday or Monday. Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you for asking. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the slideshow. Hey, Laura. Because I'm finishing. Okay, bye, everybody. We'll see you later. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.